What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is a huge welcome back to the Creativ Rise Podcast. And this is a special welcome because if you're sitting driving in your car, listening to the show, going, man, they're back. Where the heck have they been for 11 weeks?
11 whole weeks.
You've got to know there's also going to be people visually watching us talk right now. So if you don't know, which you don't know, no one knows unless you're watching this because we're just releasing this for the first time, but we're now recording these podcasts to face-to-face to a camera. So we're really excited about that in our home here in California. And so welcome back to the Creativ Rise Podcast, everybody. Whether you're listening audibly or you are watching and listening audibly, whether you're on YouTube, IGTV, wherever you're seeing this, we're so excited to be back. It has been a while, and that's what this episode's about. We're really excited to talk about
wild.
This.
It's
been a wild while. We have been through quite a few things, but before we get into those things, because we want to fill you guys in, and there's purpose in filling you guys in. Before we do that, the episode today is just going to be all about how your patience pays off. Your patience, your healthy patience will pay off. And so we're going to talk about what that looks like in your business. What is healthy patience? What's unhealthy patience? We really want to paint those two together. And yeah, we're going to explain kind of how we got into that and why we think this is a great topic to kick off as we get back into the show. Weekly show. We claimed weekly. We did weekly, and then we took an 11-week gap. So we're back. It's going to be weekly, coming out every week. Again, you can see us. You can hear us. We're hitting you all over. So right off the bat, for almost 11 weeks, as we said, guys, 11 weeks, you guys have been patient with us. And so we just want to say thank you. Thank you for being patient. We got so many emails from people saying, where the heck's the podcast?
So many tags,
we got
calls.
no emails. There was definitely some people that DM'd us and was like, when's the next podcast? But yeah, there was no emails. But you guys were so patient with us as we sifted through a lot of things in this business, where Creativ Rise is going. And most importantly, we had a really cool plan for a couple different things with Creativ Rise. And then we were mountain biking one day, and Christy was rocking it. She was crushing me up all the hills. I couldn't keep up with her little bunny rabbit leg. She just keeps going and going and going. I'm dying. On our last downhill, right in front of the car, we were like 100 meters in front of the car, Christy hit a gnarly cattle track, which a cattle track is, we said that we were going to keep this episode short. Now I'm talking about cattle tracks. A cattle track is where cows can't walk. Cows can't walk up hills or down hills, so they have to walk like around the hill to get up and then around the hill to get down. So they create these big ruts. Christy nailed one of these ruts on her bike over the bars. She did a great job. She rolled really well. She hit the ground, rolled, but unfortunately she put her left ankle down. And your left one, right?
Yeah.
And you snapped that puppy. Mm-hmm. You broke both sides, dislocated it, relocated it, and shaved off a ton of cartilage in the span of like half a second.
And I broke 2 vertebrae in my back.
Yes.
And separated one of my shoulders.
Yes.
So crushed it on the uphills, crushed myself on the downhill.
Yeah. So if you're into some of that stuff, Christy said she's going to post the video. She still hasn't posted the video. So if you want to see that video, because I filmed it.
It's on camera.
It is on camera. You've got to text or, shoot Christy a message on Instagram and beg her to post it because I think she needs to post it. However, back to the point, you guys were patient with us because we had a long journey of crazy surgery, a couple overnights in hospitals, some crazy stuff. This was also a week and a half before our wedding. Yay, we got married. We got rings on now as we're recording this. So we're really excited about that too. Marriage has been an absolute blast. So again, thank you for being patient with us as we have journeyed into that. Mm-hmm. And then most importantly, to the context of what this is, not most importantly, because I would say probably the health of your body in marriage is more important than work. However, most important to the health of this conversation and the health of this podcast, we took some time with the time off to just kind of reevaluate what Creativ Rise is doing in the world, what Creativ Rise is up against, what we're committing to do with Creativ Rise. And that needed patience. That needed a ton of patience. And that's what we're talking about today because we are on the other side of the patience we needed, and it's phenomenal. We're so excited. Creativ Rise was phenomenal before. Don't get us wrong. Creativ Rise has impacted so many people's lives with this podcast. This has been consistently a top-ranked podcast. There's been just to highlight like what, $25,000 in just a fund that has come from Creativ Rise that's going down to Nicaragua to build wells and repair wells in the name of people who have journeyed through the Creativ Rise Mastermind or Inner Circle with us, let alone all the businesses that have been impacted and the people that have been impacted through them. So prior to us needing some time off, Creativ Rise was phenomenal. However, we got to reshape some things with that downtime that was forced because of her ankle and then the wedding. We really got some new perspective on where we want things to go, and we're super excited about it. And so we're glad you're here for the journey, because it's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
So.
And we both knew something was on the rise of what we were doing, but we just didn't know exactly what it was. And that is what patience gives us. It gives us clarity, which was the most valuable thing we could have gotten in our time off. And so the question that we have for you, and the question we were asking ourselves during this time off, was, what am I, or what are we capable of when we have healthy patients? Yeah. Healthy patients.
Keyword healthy. And there's unhealthy patients.
Absolutely.
And I've fallen into unhealthy patients. You've fallen into it. We see it all the time. All the time. Most people that message us asking for help or advice on something are probably in a season of unhealthy patients. And unhealthy patients is simply just defined by like sitting in being patient even when you get clear.
Yeah.
So good patience and healthy patience is going, I need to just be patient and think and wait and, have people invest in me. But as soon as you get clarity, you got to go. If you get clarity and you don't go, you're now sitting in like an unhealthy patience, and it's kind of like just a fear-based.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Position.
So using patience, you can use patience as a tool to get clarity. That is ultimately what we were doing. We were using patience as a tool to get clarity.
So we always start these podcasts with the problem. So we've kind of given you an idea that we want to talk about today, which again is your patience pays off. And the problem with this is when you do not allow your patience to pay off, Christy and I are going to sit here and argue. We're going to agitate this problem that when you don't have patience, you actually give your competition your future. Now, your competition can be yourself. Like you give yourself the poor part of yourself, the fear inside of you. You give your fear your future. You give, maybe it is your competition. It's directly somebody who lives down the road. It's somebody on the other side of the world that does exactly what you do and is fighting for the same business that you're fighting for. When you're not patient, again, you can't get super clear. And because of that clarity, you're giving your opponents, you're giving the fear, the future that you obviously want to have and you want to walk into. So, that's the problem that we're going to try and help you solve today, and we're going to try and talk about today because we think that's really important. So there's a couple stakes with that. And really the stakes are just like, why would you care? Why would you care about what we're talking about?
Yeah. So if you don't have patience, honestly, you miss out kind of on three things. And we're just going to jump on these three things really fast. The first one being, if you don't have patience, you miss out on clarity and rejuvenation. So sometimes you need this patience to really settle in yourself of, hey, I need to be rejuvenated. Maybe I'm burnt out. Maybe I'm just tired. Or maybe I know something's on the edge, but I haven't gotten there yet.
Totally.
And that's when clarity comes. That's when rejuvenation comes. And you're at your best when you're clear and you're ready.
We needed
both those things. Absolutely
we needed that. We're actually going to talk about in next week's episode specifically what that clarity for us was.
Yeah.
And why we needed it and how you can find the same type of clarity. But so that clarity and rejuvenation obviously leads to the second thing that is a stake. If you do not give patience the right time, if you do not allow it to do its thing, you will not only lose the clarity and rejuvenation, but you'll also lose the opportunity. Number 2 is opportunity. Because with rejuvenation and with clarity comes opportunity. There's new things on the horizon. There's things that you look at and go, we can do that differently. I can now push into this field because I have a new perspective on this, right? So maybe the patience gave you a new relationship that's led to a new opportunity. So if you do not allow patience to pay off, you're living in unhealthy patience, you will miss new opportunities.
Yeah, and the last way that you can let patience do its thing is it gives you a greater impact and fulfillment. So oftentimes panic and fear can make us act really quickly, but we're not acting in ways that's actually giving great impact. We're not acting in ways that's actually fulfilling us on the inside about what our business is or in external circumstances. And so when you let patience do its thing, you don't miss out on that greater impact and fulfillment. So we want to give you just a quick plan, 3 steps of how do I get this patience? If I'm in a spot where I know my business needs some patience, I need some patience with myself to get this clarity, to get this rejuvenation, to get this impact back. What do I do? So first step would be recognize your need for it. figure out, am I in that spot? Am I operating out of fear? Am I operating out of this pressure of external circumstances of, oh, I just need to do this, this, and this? And if you are, this might be the time to have some patience. So number one is recognize your need for it and then tell someone so that they can keep you accountable.
That's super important. Christy
Absolutely.
and I obviously had to tell each other, hey, I need a little bit more clarity on what we're doing with Creativ Rise. I need more clarity on, we need more clarity on what we're doing with another business we have. But we had to tell somebody about it. We had dinner with so many friends on our 11 weeks of not podcasting. And every time we were out for dinner with family or friends, we would look at them and say, man, it's just, we're going through this thing with work. It's really tough because we have to just be patient and wait for clarity and get built into. So, hey, can you build into us? So if you don't do that, you're probably going to get back to just working from a place of unhealthy, confusion.
Yeah.
And so the point of telling somebody is that they're actually going to be able to keep you accountable and say, hey, you said you weren't working. Let me build into you. Or I know somebody that can build into you. Or stop trying to, jump back to the gun and just chill for a bit. So it's really important to tell somebody. Number 2 is step away. So going off of what I just said, make sure if you're in a season of, okay, I think I just need patience. This does not mean that you just wait and you sit on a couch and you watch new season of Ted Lasso's coming out. So if you think this is a great time to watch that and just be patient in your business, it's not. Because stepping away means you actually retract from your day-to-day tasks in a patient way, and you create an environment, though, where you can be built into. So you go and find fountains. So step away, but find a fountain. What can you allow to pour into you while you wait? It's really, really important. So again, Christy and I needed that. We called 101 people. We called a ton of people that are super close to us from a business perspective. They really get what we're trying to do. They understand where we've come from. And so we just said, hey, we need advice on, this season of waiting that we're in, because we think we need to be patient to get new clarity. And those conversations were by far the most beneficial thing to us. But it's only because we stepped away and then allowed people to pour into us.
Yeah. And then the last step is get clear, but then go. Right? Get clear, but then go. Don't wait for 100% clarity, because you're just not going to get 100% clarity. And if you're waiting for 100% clarity, you will never act. So I would say get about 75 to 80% clarity and then go, because the other 20%, 15%, whatever it is, that comes in action. Yeah. And most of the time, plan A usually doesn't work. It's usually
it doesn't work.
Plan B, but you don't get to plan B until you act on
F.
plan A.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plan F.
If you wait to launch your plan A, the whole point is guys, no one ever hits the jackpot on their plan A. They're constantly innovating it. So don't wait.
Yeah.
Christy's really good at that. She's really good at reminding me about that, actually. Just go for it. We're at 80%. We've got enough. Let's do it.
Done is better than perfect.
Yeah. So again, out of those 3 things, I think the most important thing is to retract, but then find people to pour into you. Again, that was the most important thing for us. And so we said, what better way to welcome back the podcast and welcome it onto YouTube, IGTV, visually, for that matter, than to be a fountain for somebody specific. So we want you guys to text us to the same number you guys used to text us. It's so fun getting to get your text and text you guys back. So our number has not changed. It's the same number, 916-587-6417. We want you to text us why you need a fountain. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick one of you guys, and we're going to be like, hey, we're going to be your fountain. Let's jump on a call. We're going to send you a link to jump on a call with us, and we are just going to want to encourage you, pour into you, and really get down to the meat of what you're going through in this season of business right now, and how we can, in some way, just walk you through a conversation where you're going to get more clarity on that. Again, more encouragement. Hopefully you're going to come out of that more encouraged than you came into it. And so all you need to do is just text us why you need a fountain. So not those words, but text us a story about why you need a fountain to 916-587-6417. And we will get your text. We will text you back, and we will pick one of you guys to go at it. So this is all great. We're so excited to be back. Take this stuff seriously, guys. Imagine waking up, walking downstairs, probably making yourself a coffee if you're anything like me. Probably, sitting down, opening up your laptop, and then just imagine being able to actually get cracking on stuff and being so motivated to do things because you're so clear. That's what we want for each and every single one of you guys listening or watching this podcast. And giving yourself time to be patient in a healthy way really, really helps you get there. So we hope this helped today. leave us a review. Get back to leaving reviews. We're so excited. You guys were leaving reviews while we were gone, which was amazing. So how do they leave a review?
They can go onto wherever you're listening this podcast, but go on Apple Podcasts specifically and leave us a 5-star written review. Yeah. We would absolutely love that. That helps us out so much. And also share this with a friend if you think this might be helpful. Put it on your story. And we are going to be talking about next week the clarity that we got through our patients in something very specific. We're going to be talking about a really cool cause. That is a cause. We're talking about how to find a cause. So we're super excited. We'll see you next week, guys. Thanks for tuning in.